Welcome back. Sorry we ran right into the end of that, and what we were saying is there's so many changes. We want you to make sure that you contact the clerk's office whenever you have questions. We don't want you to wonder about what's going on or how can I get this information. When Sam was giving all of the changes that are going on, and there are so many changes, those are the things that you need to know.
Yes. And not only that, but if you go to the nyecounty.net and to the clerk's department under elections, I have tried to put a lot of this information out there. I have recently put the new election calendar that gives you the dates for the primary in general for all the voter registration dates, and early voting and everything is on that little calendar. So,
if a person is wondering, I think I'm registered, or I know I'm registered, I'm not sure if I changed my party, how am I registered? Can they find that out?
A couple of ways. They can either call our office, and we're always happy to help, but the Secretary of State's office, if you go to the Secretary of State, just do a search and you can get to their main website. They have voter registration on there. You can put in your information, your name, your driver's license, and it'll pull up your voter registration information that way, because everything we do uploads to the state every night.
Okay.
So they have all of our data.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So nobody should wonder if I'm registered, how I'm registered, or anything else. You can always find it out.
Exactly, and it is so easy to register. You can register online in our office. We have registrations at the senior centers, at the libraries. We have them everywhere. So there's no reason nobody should be registered. So
or not be registered.
Or not be registered. Yeah,
right.
Not registered. Yeah.
Everybody should be registered.
Everybody should be registered. So.
What is the age limit? A lot of people don't know.
Well, it's still 18. You have to be 18 by the election, but we have what's called pre-17 or something. So a 17-year-old can register, but it doesn't actually flow into the registration until they are 18.
Okay.
So it's not, they can come in and register, we'll put them in the system, but it won't happen until they're 18.
Okay.
So
something else I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot.
It's kind of handy. We love the high school kids coming in to register.
This evening's program has been invaluable to me because I'm learning so much.
Oh, good.
Yes.
So, well, you want to talk about elections?
Let's talk about elections.
Okay. Anybody who voted last election knows we had new equipment, these great big tablets, and they're a little bit different than our old things. Anyway, there were some issues with them. I think people were uncomfortable with the privacy.
Yes.
We're trying to come up with something. They have different privacy screens we might use, but have you ever seen the computers where you have that glass privacy screen that you fit on them so that you can't see anything?
Yes,
if you're over this way
that.
or that way, you can't see the screen.
Right.
We're looking at that possibly.
Okay.
So, and I've tested them out, I've seen them, and literally they're wonderful because unless you're right there over my shoulder, you can't see that screen. And I think that if I can get the money from the county, that's what I'd like to do, is get those privacy screens.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one thing. Another thing is the old system used to kick out your card as soon as you voted your ballot.
Right.
Do you remember that? It gave just a little click and the card kicked out. Well, on these tablets, it doesn't. So the issues all the counties had this last election was that people were pulling out their card before they cast their ballot. And so people may also remember how we had so many people roaming the polling place, and you'd see us chasing after a voter, running out the door to try to bring them back because they had pulled their card out. And so we would chase them to bring them back to finish their ballot. Well, another thing that's been implemented by our vendor is that now if you pull your card out before you've cast your ballot, it gives a really loud siren noise. So I imagine the first couple of voters who do that, it's going to scare the daylights out of them, but it will at least stop everybody in their tracks.
Clean up on aisle 2.
Exactly. It'll stop them in their tracks to let them know, okay, I've done something, what is it? Because that is the worst thing. We probably had, I'm trying to think, in the end, we had 16 or so people who fled. We could not cast their ballot. So their vote did not count because we just couldn't catch him, couldn't find him, and had to reset the machine. So that's something that's really important, and hopefully we'll get a little more training. I want to work with Arnold Knightley, who's the public information officer.
Yes.
We talked about also putting together a video showing people exactly what to do so they know not to pull that card out ahead of time.
When are you going to do training like that?
The training for the workers?
No,
or
training for the people,
well,
the
you know,
voters. And when I say that,
No.
if he's going to do a video, when do we get a chance to watch the video?
I think I would probably attach it to my website.
Okay.
If I could do that. So we talked about, Arnold and I talked about this last year, but I can honestly say we have not gotten
And I asked that question.
it together yet.
I asked that question because, you know, during the commissioner meeting, you could go ahead and announce that. That way a lot of the word will get out.
Right.
I think, radio, TV, newspaper, we need
Yeah.
to make sure the word gets out so that people know about these changes.
Yeah. Well, they'll know when that siren goes off. No, I'm just teasing about that. It's pretty loud, but it's going to be effective.
No.
You know
I was
what?
serious about that cleanup on aisle 2.
I would rather have that than have somebody who their vote doesn't count.
Yes.
Because they took off and there's nothing we can do about it. So.
Okay.
But along those lines, you know, the one thing we went to last year also were the electronic poll books.
What is that?
Well, you know, we used to carry bring in these big old paper rosters with every voter, and the workers would thumb through them and have them sign off, and then we'd issue them a ballot or a card to create their ballot. Well, now it's all electronic. So basically, the workers look them up in a little laptop. It's called a kiosk, and then they do an electronic signature, if you remember that, and then it prints out a label. So it definitely saves on all that paper.
Okay.
That's a nice thing. And it automatically uploads to their voter history right away, and that way I can get these. We have candidates who ask for who voted just about every night, and because it automatically uploads, I can throw out those lists all the time, you know, because it uploads. So that's a nice thing. But the issue is that
When they say who voted, what information are they receiving?
well, you know, voter registration records are public. Your personal information is not, like your social security number, date of birth, that kind of stuff is not on that record. But your name, party, address is usually on the record. So when a candidate asks for the list who voted, what they'll get is a voter list of all these people voted, that type of thing. So that's the information that's
But not
included
which
on
way
there.
they voted.
No.
Okay.
No. Oh, no. Votes are always private. No.
Okay. No, I like that.
The day that ever comes, I don't know what I'll do if that ever happens. So anyway, speaking of workers, I've had so many wonderful workers over the years, and I know the electronic poll books have been very difficult for some workers to adjust to. So one thing I want to put out there, if you are interested in becoming an election worker, please contact our office. What we're looking for is people who can run these laptops, who are familiar with keyboards and laptops and electronics just a little bit, because we're always looking for new workers. But I did have quite a few retire last year, so if you think you're interested, please contact our office and we'll set you up with some training and
Same number?
go from there. Same number.
Okay, so you
Absolutely.
can call and say, I want a job as
I want a job.
a poll worker?
Yeah. We don't pay a lot, but we do pay. But you know, it's a long day, but it's, I think it's pretty exciting. Most of my workers who have done it have loved doing it, and they've done it for years.
I've talked to several, and I've heard nobody complain and say, I really don't think I want to do this again.
Yeah.
They look forward to it.
They do. But I do think that electronic switch was a little different for some, and I think in the end they thought, well, you know, I don't know if I like this anymore. So, but I usually send out letters sometime in January or February to all of the workers that I've had in the past to see if they're still interested. So we'll see, but please contact my office if you think you want to work. We're always looking for more people.
Okay. What else do we have?
I'm done. No. Just kidding. No.
No, I was going to say, you know, I know I wanted to cover elections. I wanted to cover a meeting. I wanted to cover all the record keeping because you do so much. But elections are definitely important.
Yeah, and you know, we used to have time in between elections where we had downtime, but anymore we have just been so busy, and we've been busy with election things. Well, literally since the legislation ended and we got the new election bills in, we have been working on elections already and still for the last 6 months. So just trying to get everything straight.
Now, right now, our legislature meets every other year.
Uh-huh.
How would it be for you if they met every year?
No.
That answers that question.
Yeah, and the thing is everything has different effective dates. And so, as you said, the way our office works, I'm watching the court bills, I'm watching the election bills, we're watching, there are these public records bills that have passed, and which affect the commissioners and the minutes and everything else. So we have all these things that we're watching, and they all go into effect different days and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. And one thing I do want to mention, some of our fees went up just slightly, because I think I may have talked about a clerk technology fund in the past. What we always had was a $5 fee on top of every notary that would go into a clerk technology fund. Well, unfortunately, we might do 20 notaries a year, so our technology fund is very tiny. So one thing that did pass, which is a good thing, but it doesn't affect some of the smaller counties as much as Clark and Washoe, is that they added a $5 filing fee for all candidates. So we get that extra little $5 in our technology fee. I see our minister licensing went up by $5. So they just added a few little things, which might help us in the end. I might be able to buy a printer or two. But so you might notice that extra $5 fee when you go and file for office. But I can talk about the upcoming primary and filing dates.
Very quickly.
Would you like to do that?
Very quickly.
1 minute. Okay. Just so you know, judicial candidate filing starts in January. We will be publishing the notices sometime in December, all the notices that are up this next year. Judicial's in January, and all other candidates are in March. But that information will be on the website and as well as being published in the paper. So please look for that.
For anybody who wants to run for office.
Anybody.
Any office, all the offices are going to be open. We haven't had Sam here since August. I try to get her on this show every now and then, just before all the big changes and election things coming up, and just try to, I guess, reiterate all the things that the clerk's office is responsible for, and they're responsible for so much. So I really thank her for coming and being on this show and providing all this information to you. It is so important that you receive this information, understand it, and know that your county clerk is working for you. So Sam, I just want to thank you for being here again.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
And we need to schedule a date so you can come back and do this all over again. And we'll end this session and go into our next session. Thank you.